Hey guys, it's Ryan Fowler here with my good friend Jordan Kurtz, Inner Masculine Live, the Inner Game group every Saturday. Tim Costello is under the weather, not able to make it, but we have an interesting one today, the meaning of dreams. You know, we talk a lot about, all sorts of topics concerning the mind, most especially subconscious, and your dreams are tied to the subconscious. And our dreams, not all of our dreams mean something, but a lot of times they do. So we're going to dive into the science of dreams. We have an Alex Huberman talking to Lex Friedman clip. They'll get kind of technical, but it'll give you a good foundation. And then we're going to examine another clip from Psych2Go that actually goes into what do certain symbols mean. You know, if you have a dream about your teeth falling out, what does that mean? So interesting show, good show today. And it really ties into just being tuned into your inner world, because your inner world tells you stuff you need to know or that you should be aware of if you want to get ahead in life and just be in tune with yourself. So before we dive into that, Jordan, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself, my man.
Well, thanks, Ryan. I'm Jordan with Jordan Kurtz Hypnosis. I know, really super original name. I basically help people end their limiting beliefs and unlock their full potential. And I've been working with Ryan for about almost 10 months now, I think.
Yeah. How long have we known each other? Longer than that. A couple of years.
Well, in the hypnosis, I
did your session like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. But the hypnosis specifically has only been about 9 months. But happy to be here. Happy to do another show.
Onward and upward, baby. So interesting show today for sure, all about dreams. Before we dive into that, I want to show you guys something because, in the past, I talk about my free ebook, which, tells you guys how the subconscious mind works, why it keeps you stuck. And then you read the free ebook and you say, oh, that's why I struggle here. That's why I procrastinate, self-sabotage. That's, why I, can't stop binging Netflix or whatever, all of these things. But now we move to a new stage where at no cost, you can actually learn how to use self-hypnosis and use self-hypnosis to fix yourself, to up level, to optimize your subconscious. No charge. And we have a community I would love you guys to join. It is called MindChrysalis. Now, Inner Masculine is going to be rebranding over time to MindChrysalis. It may still take a couple months, but this is up and running now. And it's a community. It's quite active. People are posting. They're helping each other, advising each other. This is all free, but guess what? Look at this. We got a calendar here that we have 2 webinars per month, free, good stuff. Q&A, you can interact with us. It's a Zoom call. So here, you type something in the chat. We do our best to answer. We're going to have live Q&A on Zoom, much more interactive. But guess what? You get this classroom too. This is all no charge at all. You just join the community and you're in. There's going to be also special discounts for our paid products if you are a school.com member. But all this is free. You got the ebook here. This is a 1-hour read. How the subconscious mind works, why it keeps you stuck. You just download it right there. But look at all this other good stuff. Here's from my professional paid course. We have a video here and done in a studio, self-love, camera angles, talking about beliefs, talking about core beliefs, because that's what we really work on. We work on core beliefs that are deep down in your core, and whether you realize it or not, they dictate 95% of our behavior. And we get the bad ones out, we put the best ones in, and people just take off. You watch my testimonials in the video section. You walk the SOS match. The SOS means subconscious optimization system, can change the world. Watch that video. It's just like 9-minute video, 10 client testimonials, just 1 session, 2 sessions, just big changes in their lives. And now you get to try it out for free. This is over an hour of training you how to do self-hypnosis. I'm giving you the big stuff here. You get the same worksheet. This is not as much content. This is actually about 1/10 the content of the paid program. But this is still some of the most powerful stuff in the program. You get a self-hypnosis audio where you can you take the training, you fill out the worksheet, you do this, you change your life. And you get the ebook. So a ton of good content. You can ask questions, connect with others. We got webinars twice a month now, all no charge. We've only been active about 2 weeks. We already got 92 members. It's growing. You know,
I was gonna say 92 members is good. Come join. It's
for 2 weeks. Yeah. So
yeah, it's popping in there. A lot of people, a lot of comments. It's going good.
Yeah, and so you've been on there, and people are pretty active on there, and people are I've already got people DM me, and they say, yeah, I've been grinding my teeth my whole life, and now I don't grind my teeth anymore. It's just like things that used to trigger me, they don't trigger me. What's going on? And I'm like, that means it's working. So Masculine Mindset, welcome to the show. Has been watching us for a while. I see you, Masculine Mindset. And yeah, so we're here to educate you. We're actually here to help up-level humanity, men and women. Now, you know, we're both guys. We know, we believe in specialized treatment. You know, men are different, women are different. That's why there is inner masculine. But ultimately, we want to up-level benefit all humanity. And MindChrysalis, it's here for the long run. Like I quit my $190,000 a year job. I'm doing this full time because it's fulfilling and because I want to change the world, because I believe in this stuff. I know how just amazingly powerful it is. Jordan, you know too, because you have done sessions for yourself and you said, hey, this is so powerful. You became a hypnotherapist. Now you're helping others. So join the community. Anything to add to this or anything else before we dive in, Jordan?
I think it's really cool to see, like, when you start these things, you never know, like, are people going to join, and like, is this going to like flop, or what's going to happen? And what was really cool for me is like seeing, I was like, wow, people are posting stuff. They're
engaging. Yeah.
They are engaging. And that's what's really kind of inspiring for me to be part of, because it's cool to see you actually make something, people to actually come and engage and get value and, you know, have conversations with us and each other. And so that's the coolest thing for me, is seeing people actually engage with the platform. It's really cool.
Yeah. And I mean, some people have come in and they either just tried the new program that you saw for free, or their former clients, and they're like, one guy was like, oh, I doubled my income after doing a session with Ryan. Well, that's what happens. This is power. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that. Everyone's different, but they're sharing their success stories, and people are having massive success with what we do. I mean, I had a job. I worked for myself. I had my own business. I could live anywhere in the world. In fact, I am living in Costa Rica right now. I quit that because it's so powerful, so good. I'm like all in, you know? So we're going to talk about dreams today. We got some interesting clips. We got this Andrew Huberman talking to Lex Friedman. Not super long clips, but pretty dense with knowledge. And if you want to know about why we dream, what is the takeaway? What can we learn from our dreams? Well, you've come to the right show today. So we're going to pick apart this Huberman clip first. And Jordan, would you like to set this up? Give us any additional background on this?
Yeah. In my own experience in clearing my own subconscious programs, one of the ways I've figured out what programs were in me to clear was through using dreams. Now, dreams are sort of random. We don't always know why they happen or what they are. Like, I understand that the science behind them isn't settled yet, but that doesn't mean that you can't use patterns and some of the information or context from that to derive some subconscious programs. For me, I noticed I was always having the same reoccurring, I don't want to call it a nightmare, but negative dream over and over again.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. It was like I couldn't leave the house to get on an airplane. And one of the videos we're going to cover is going to kind of actually talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm talking about, like, I've had that dream. I'm 25 right now. I've had that dream since as long as I can remember.
Yeah. Are you still having it now?
Not really. It's sort of shifted, but not nearly to the same intensity and frequency. Mm-hmm. It would happen constantly. And basically I drew the connection of that's a subconscious program of I can't get what I want, or or what I want is ever elusive. And again, you might be thinking, oh, well, and it's
kind of powerlessness.
Yes. And it's not the fact that you had this dream once and therefore you have this negative subconscious program. You want to look for trends of I mean, this is years and years of having the same thing over and over again. To me, that's something that says, okay, there's probably a reason why. And so we're going to go into some of the science behind that in these next 2 videos.
All right, cool. So let's start out with the Huberman. Now, Andrew Huberman, he is a Stanford neuroscientist. He is also a huge hypnosis advocate. We've shown clips from him talking with another Stanford psychiatrist. They're both huge on hypnosis. They know it's amazingly, incredibly effective when it's done effectively and correctly. So, Tomeos, welcome to the show. Talking about dreams today. So let's dive into this first clip. And I'll just, you know, if you want me to pause any particular part, just let me know, Jordan.
Sure.
And we'll play it out 1 1/4. And here we go. Yeah, we'll skip ahead a few seconds.
Dreaming. What do you think we understand about the contents of dreams? Like, what do dreams mean? All the stuff we see when we dream. Is there something that we understand about the contents of dreams?
Some of it is very concrete. So Matt Wilson, who MIT, showed in rodents, and it's been shown in non-human primates, and now it's been shown in humans, that there is replay of spatial information during sleep. So initially what Matt showed was that as these little rodents navigate through a maze, there are these cells in the hippocampus called place cells that fire when the animal encounters a turn or a corridor. And that exact same sequence is replayed during sleep. And it turns out this is true in London taxi cab drivers. Before phones and GPS were what they are today, the London taxi cab drivers were famous for knowing the routes through the city through these mental maps. And there have been analysis of their place cell firing during sleep and during wakefulness. And so we are essentially taking spatial information about the location of things and replaying it during sleep. However, it's not replayed so that you remember it all. It's replayed so that if there's a reason to remember it, the links to the emotional system, to the components of the limbic system and hypothalamus that are relevant, like you got into a car crash at a particular location, or you lost a bunch of money because you were a cab driver, Uber driver, we'd say nowadays, and you were stuck at one particular avenue all day and frustrated, you're getting yelled at by your spouse. That information gets encoded so that you never forget that at that particular time of day and that particular time of year, and this thing happened. So context starts getting linked to experience. So there's spatial information that's absolutely replayed during sleep. And we experience this sometimes as dreams. The dreams that happen early in the night when slow wave sleep and non-REM sleep dominate tends to be sleep of very kind of general themes and kind of.
I was on the wrong screen.
You're good. So to me, what he said there's interesting. There's a couple things there. One was he's talking about mental maps. We talk about, and I think that we've had this conversation more about terms, is how do we want to define the terms we use to define the subconscious? I like that term mental map because he's talking about an actual map. He's talking about navigating a maze, but I think the analogy extends further to a subconscious program. You always talk about it's a belief tied to a feeling, right? So, and he's talking about then, okay, if I got in a car accident in one particular spot, I'm going to encode a certain amount of negative information in that location, right? And
it's really stuff getting encoded into our, I guess, long-term subconscious memory.
Yes. And I would argue that when we're young, that process is kind of working almost on overdrive all the time.
Oh, and yeah, 100%.
So
that's when the most learning takes place.
Yeah, and he's kind of describing how these negative feelings actually get encoded in our subconscious mind. And so he's saying it happens through dreams. I say, I don't know if it has to happen through dreams, but the reason I like this clip is because he kind of gives an example of how the actual encoding is working behind the scenes. So
yeah, and listen, we dream every night. It's just if you don't wake up while you're dreaming, you don't remember the dream. It's only when you wake up that you have any while you're dreaming that you have any memory of the dream. And usually when people wake up, it's you know, in the later stages of sleep when the dreams are more vivid and have emotional impact. But there's also something called skill consolidation, which is when you learn things during the day, that actually gets consolidated into your brain at night while you're dreaming. So our brain is really just, okay, what happened today and where do I put it? You know, should I put it anywhere? And there's some interpreting going on. There's some encoding and putting into the long-term parts of our brain. you know, especially in the important parts, you know, with strong emotion tied to them, such as frustration. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, and I think the key part of here, why it relates to hypnosis, is that there's the negative experiences we tend to remember more, because we're in the nature of our brains are trying to keep us safe.
Yeah.
And so we tend to encode those negative feelings and patterns or programs more likely sometimes than the positive ones. And so
yeah, the negative is more tied to survival, right?
Yeah. And well, it all kind of links together through these subconscious programs. So it doesn't mean the point of this is kind of like, I think understanding how your mind works is the best way to, like, in order to clear these programs, it's useful to understand how your mind works.
Oh.
And then use the tools appropriately to clear whatever or optimize it as best you can. So you can keep going on the video.
All right, cool.
The dreams that happen early in the night when slow wave sleep or non-REM sleep dominates tends to be sleep of very kind of general themes and kind of location. It can feel a little bit eerie and kind of strange. Not so incidentally, the early phase of the night is when growth hormone is released. In the 80s and 90s, there was a drug that was very popular. It's very illegal now, called GHB. You could actually buy it at GNC or a store then. I never took it, but it was a popular party drug, and some famous celebrities died while on GHB. They were also on a bunch of other things, so it's not clear what killed them. But GHB was very big in certain communities because it promoted a massive release of growth hormone and gave people these very hypnotic states. So people go to clubs and they were in these very hypnotic states. It was part of a whole culture. Mm-hmm. That's early night. And those dreams tend to not have a lot of emotional content or load. That phase of dreaming is associated with the occasional jolting yourself out of sleep because it's a somewhat lighter sleep. The dreams that occur during REM, during rapid eye movement sleep, that dominate towards morning are very different. They tend to have very little epinephrine is available in the brain at that time. Epinephrine, again, being this molecule of stress, fear, and excitement. You are paralyzed during these REM dreams. You cannot move. There's intense emotion at the level of what you're feeling, and there's so-called theory of mind. Theory of mind is an idea that was put forward by Simon Baron-Cohen, Sacha Baron Cohen's cousin. I think on the podcast, I mistakenly said that he was at Oxford. It's like the cardinal sin. He's at Cambridge. Forgive me. I'm not British. But so the dreams in REM are heavily emotionally laden. And it's very clear that those dreams and REM sleep, if you deprive yourself of them for too long, you become irritable and you start linking generally negative emotions to almost everything.
Get proper sleep, guys. Right there. Don't do 5-6 hours of sleep. You think you can handle it. If you get irritable or stressed or negative, hey, don't say we didn't warn you.
And I'm
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm going to speculate. I'm going to make a theory, is that's very similar. Well, he's talking about being in really high emotional states. I would argue that we almost recreate that in hypnosis in a way. I know that
hypnosis is almost, for some, it's like a light dream state because our imagination can become much more vivid in hypnosis.
Yeah, I find that there are a lot of similarities between dreaming and almost in the hypnosis we do, because we're trying to dreams, recreate that emotional and typically negative feelings, and we kind of do the same thing in hypnosis. So I find that people say, "Oh, I can't connect to the feeling." Well, if you're able to do it in one state, I think you should be able to do it in another state as well. Or like
emotions tend to get stronger in hypnosis. I have guys where, we do something called Dive to the 5, which is we have people write out a paragraph of what they feel and believe deep inside that's messing them up. And maybe they say, well, this feels true, but I don't really feel it. And then they go into hypnosis and it's an 8 out of 10 feeling, painful feeling. And then we get rid of it, So it can definitely get us more connected to our emotions in that state. And anything to add before I have some clips to comment on. Anything else, Jordan?
No, you can keep going.
Okay, so let's see here. Skinny to Swole. Inner Game Heal. Oh, from Inner Game Healing. Great, my man. So daily marijuana user noticed he never dreamed. When he stopped, it was just a huge resurgence of vivid dreams. So listen, marijuana affects our brain, man. It affects brain chemistry. So does alcohol. So, so does a lot of other stuff. So I don't know personally the effect of THC on dreaming. I've been stoned once in my life. I took edibles and oh my goodness, for like 10, 12 hours, I was stoned out of my mind. And then I said, I'm never doing that again. So I never did. You know, I was stoned where it was, you know, legal. Anyways, it's all, you know, it's in Oklahoma. But good grief, man. That is, I mean, THC is powerful. It's powerful stuff, man. I think it has its uses, anti-inflammatory. My grandfather was prescribed it for from a hospital while he was undergoing cancer treatment. So, but powerful effect on your brain, you know. Anything to add, Jordan, with any of these? Oh,
well, I guess
suppressants.
question for you: have you tried to hypnotize someone who's smoked marijuana at the time? Like, do they struggle to get into hypnosis, or is
well, I never did it for anyone who was stoned. I'm sure I've done it for marijuana users. And, well, I know because I've had people tell me, oh, I smoke weed all the time. And also people on antidepressants.
like, do they struggle to get, in your experience, like, do they struggle to get into that hypnotic state?
I think with the marijuana, I don't think so. I think I could still help them. The antidepressants, they're more disconnected, numbed out from their feelings, you know. So makes it a little more difficult with antidepressants. Marijuana, I can't recall, but I don't think it was an impediment. How about you, Jordan?
I haven't, but I'm wondering, like, if certain drugs or antidepressants numb emotions, like you said, it makes it more difficult. I wonder if there's a connection there between not dreaming and not being able to feel certain emotions. Like, if you can't, I'm kind of making it up. I'm kind of making that up a little bit as I go along.
I don't know,
but it's interesting.
Yeah, our dreams are important, because it is our brain consolidating what we're going through in life. It's consolidating it. It's putting it into, I guess, long-term storage or you know, long-term memory where it's going to have a long-term impact. This is how subconscious programs are. We form these beliefs, and these things happen to us as children. They get down on our subconscious, and they can be there 50, 60, 70 years for the rest of your life, affecting your behavior and how you feel in certain situations. And so, you know, even as adults, we still have stuff going into our subconscious, but it's not nearly at the same level as when we were children. When, you know, our brain actually is, the logic part of our brain does not fully come online until age 8. So that your logic circuits are developing from age 0 to 8. There's parts of our brain develop up to age 25. And there's a little part of our brain that has to do with, what is important, what isn't. And that develops up to like age 60, 65. And so that's why these elders have this wisdom, you know, because this part of the brain develops kind of knowing, hey, what's really important? You know, should we really get these Lambos? Should I really do everything to get a Lamborghini? Is that really important? You know, well, you know, they learn things like that. So our brains are developing, and even now our brains are neuroplastic. So stuff is still being encoded and put in us while we're dreaming. So yeah, 2 to 3 dreams a night, that is definitely above average, Spark 55. So we typically remember dreams because we wake up while we're dreaming, but I don't know if you're waking up multiple times in the night or if you just remember them. 2 to 3 dreams in a row. That's interesting, Spark. That's way above average. Tim, who's not here today, says he never dreams. And it's like, well, yeah, Tim, you actually always dream. You're just not remembering them when you wake up. But he's really interesting. His head hits the pillow. He's asleep in 30 seconds. Like, I've gone on business trips with him. 30 seconds. I'm talking to him. I think he's still awake, and he's like flat out asleep. You know, it's
and Spark, if you remember that many dreams, what you could do is try and start noticing a pattern. Are there similar dreams you keep having? You know,
yeah.
And if you notice a pattern like that, that is likely a window into, okay, so here's some of the fears I have, the maladaptive subconscious programs that I've been dealing with. Because it seems like dreams tend to be more negative than positive. I feel like for like, at least in my experience, and I think this is experience for others, is that you tend to have more negative dreams than positive ones. I mean, I've definitely had some fantastic positive dreams, but it seems like I've had more negative than positive. I think that that's intentional because of how our survival mechanisms work in our brain.
Lucid dreaming. So lucid dreaming is a very vivid type of dreaming where you can actually control your dreams. You can actually consciously make decisions in your dream state.
Right.
And the dreams are much more vivid, you know. So I'm not an expert on lucid dreamings. I've studied and read somewhat about it. Really, what we want to get to in today's episode is what we are all about is what is in your internal world that's not serving you. And having the awareness of what is in your internal world that's not serving you allows us then to go in and fix it. Usually in one session. Usually, not always. Self-hypnosis might take 2, 3, 4, 5, doing it on your own, sometimes one. But getting this awareness helps us changes stuff and up level. And then you see big changes. Like when 11 years ago, I started doing self-hypnosis. I just started cleaning my place more. I felt better. Within 2 years, doubled my income. Got rid of all my insecurities and hang-ups with women, and just like confidence, dating life, everything just took off. Just, eventually I quadrupled my income. So, and just happier, just happy for no reason, just confident, just used to have manic depression. I used to be very depressed, anger, rage, all of that, got rid of all of that. And it's so life changing. Like I live my life now. Before, I thought the life I was supposed to live I wasn't able to live my life as I was supposed to live. I felt a life that made me miserable. And so it changes everything. But this is, this is really interesting question here. Do you want to comment on this, Jordan, or I'll dive in?
Yeah, well, I had a thought about the lucid stuff, is that if you find that you have limiting beliefs even within a lucid dream, that might be helpful. I mean, lucid dreaming is a little bit beyond the scope, but if you find that, again, I'm trying to tie it back to how is this useful for finding programs. And if you find that every time you lucid dream, you still can't speak on stage, or you still can't escape from something, even though you have control, but you're still being like, do you understand? Like, if you find that you're having programs within lucid dreaming, you can use that as information to then clear out those programs.
Yeah, lucid dreaming, you're able to make choices and determine what happens in the dream. And if you find in a lucid dream, like you're still stuck, like you are in real life on certain things, like procrastinating, whatever, you feel limited, whatever. So you don't really have the choice that you want to have. Do hypnosis, because hypnosis puts you in a state where we can go in and use our techniques to fix that and remove that block. So if you become aware of when you dream, you see these things happening over and over again, that's going to, if it's negative or maladaptive, typically if there's negative emotions tied to it, or, long time ago, some of the dreams I had was I was in a car and the brakes wouldn't work. And it's like, oh, I'm out of control. I just had too much going on in my life. And I felt like, oh, man, I can't control all this.
I think I've had that dream too.
Yeah, well, that's kind of telling you something. And this can give us insights. The thing is, I'll tell you an example. When I first started self-hypnosis, I had all these negative emotions and anxiety, massive anxiety all the freaking time. Just exhausting. I probably work 5-6 hours a day and then be exhausted, So I knew what I had to clear because I was feeling all these painful feelings. Well, guess what? 2 years ago, I thought I'd gotten rid of all my toxic shame, feeling not good enough, because generally I felt great after fixing so much internally with self-hypnosis. 2 years ago, I was in this position where I had a back injury I eventually needed surgery for, which fixed it, thank goodness. And my day job was busier than ever. It was my busiest year, like 25% busier than my busiest year. And doing 15 hours a week hypnosis sessions for people, etc., presentations, etc. Just so overwhelmed. I got like 2-3 months behind on work. And I was literally not able to handle everything that came my way. I was literally was not enough, didn't have the resources for all the demand placed on me. And boom, there was some toxic shame there got triggered. Well, guess what? That toxic shame was hiding in there the whole time. But this extreme situation I got put in triggered it. And I'm like, oh, I still got some toxic shame. I cleared it out. And then I got to a new level of Zen. Like once you find bad stuff in you, even if you're not aware it's there, once it surfaces or you do find it, connect to it, you fix it, and you are actually at a higher level you were not even aware you were capable of getting to. So anyway, you can find any negative subconscious programs in you. Some of them don't surface that often or very rarely. You may not even be aware of them, but they are holding you back. So getting this awareness of going into your dreams, any other way you can find maladaptive subconscious programs in you, get that awareness, use our techniques, fix it, you're doing better than you thought you could do. You know, it's just crazy. You think you're doing great in life. Well, you can actually do better if you find programs in you that are affecting you without you even maybe realizing it. Get rid of them, you know. So
yeah, and like I understand, like not all dreams are going to have meaning. It's looking for. I'm a big fan of thinking about like metacognition, like thinking about how you're thinking, like being aware of what's inside of you. Now, like the point of this show is not to say all dreams have explicit meaning that lead to your subconscious. Like, no, the point is use it as a tool to figure out what else is inside of you. I am a big fan of using every tool at your disposal to find subconscious programs. You might not be able to find them all through dreaming. We're not saying that you can. We're trying to present that this is a free, easy, something people do every night way of looking at, kind of giving yourself some feedback, like brain feedback of going, okay, what's actually inside of me? If you're dreaming that, I don't know, if you're a parent and you're always dreaming about, I don't know, losing your kids or something like that over and over again, maybe there's a sense of abandonment or loss that you have to fix, you know, or maybe, you know, there are
powerlessness of some sort.
Yeah, or powerlessness. Again, and I want to be really clear that I am, whatever the meaning is, it's the meaning to you. The meaning, it's going to be different per individual. That's why I think this is why it can be difficult to study, because it's like every individual is different. And
that's where your intuition comes into play.
Right.
Because our brain knows what everything means. It's just finding out consciously how your subconscious interpret things.
Right. So look for patterns, be curious. And that's really what we want is I don't want people. I think it would be better for people to not be afraid of what's in their mind. Be curious about what's in your mind. Look at that stuff. And then I think you'll find that, and then use the tools we give you in Ryan's free MindChrysalis course. You know,
there's a self-hypnosis audio right there right now that I've given to people. And I have people contact me out of nowhere saying, because of your program, I lost 50 pounds. Because of your program, I quit porn. And it's the exact training. I'm actually giving you more training than I give you more digital content than I gave the guys in the Inner Game Healing course, which was through John, Modern Life Dating. I think people paid $300-$400 for his course. The very first time it was like $500. That was a paid course. You're getting more content for free now to actually fix yourself. Yeah. Keep going, Jordan.
Masculine mindset. It's a little beyond the scope of hypnosis, but I listen to brown noise every night when I sleep. I found that helps me a lot.
You can listen to a positive self-hypnosis audio as you fall asleep as well. And affirmations, yeah, it does get into your subconscious. So it certainly can't hurt. And I think to some degree it does help.
You know what's funny is that since I've been listening to brown noise more, I dream more. I'm not sure why, but
cool. And what's the thing behind brown noise? I mean, I've heard of it, but what's the supposed benefit?
Brown noise, it's supposed to, I don't know, bring your state or brain state, I don't know, to a more, I haven't really researched it. I just turned it on one night because I was having trouble sleeping. I just kind of did it because I thought it was fun. I haven't researched it too much, but seems to help. And I also post, because I'm part of some other communities. I
You
posted
sleep
about
better?
I
You like
sleep
more refreshed?
way better, and like
Interesting. Okay,
and
cool.
it, like overnight too, like completely better. So
Awesome.
but anyway, we can keep going on the clip if you want. You can play a
Yeah,
little.
Matt W. Hey, yourself. Binaural waves. So binaural waves, it's like two different frequencies. They call them binaural beats as well. So yeah, that can induce heightened suggestibility, induce hypnosis.
Yeah.
But of course, while you're sleeping, you're actually, you're beyond hypnosis. But what's your opinion on binaural waves combined with hypnosis? Yeah, binaural waves. There are like hypnosis audios or subliminal message audios that you will use binaural waves, and supposedly it enhances helps put you in a trance-like state. The whole point of hypnosis is to make your brain open to receiving hypnotic suggestion of one form or another. And binaural waves, from what I've studied, get you more in a hypnotic state, to be open to suggestion. So a lot of subliminal messages, there's binaural waves playing, and then the subliminal message at a low level, and they're working together. Yeah, Mike, the brain is crazy. I mean, 95% of our behavior is subconscious, based on stuff that happened to us when we were 3 or 8 or 14 or whatever, influencing our behavior now. And so 95% is behind the scenes, and that's what we're about. We see these people doing self-help book after self-help book. They're going to therapists with cognitive, conscious behavior, and it just takes so long for them to absorb it, to improve. And then you go in and you fix the subconscious, and it's like, boom, big difference. It's like, because we're working with the 95%, you need to get that 95% fixed, not just the 5% that's your conscious mind. And then you get unstuck, you start kicking ass. It's very, very, very important. And our brain is incredibly complex. It's incredibly complex, and also incredibly interesting. So I guess we'll just keep going, unless you have anything to add, Jordan.
No, let's keep going.
Okay, rock and roll. So, let's go back to here. Boop.
And you could probably play it a little faster.
Dreams that occur in REM sleep
I'm already at 1 1/4. So,
or when we divorce emotion from our prior experiences, and it's when we extract general rules and themes. MIT seems to come up a lot today, but it's highly relevant. Susumu Tonegawa, Nobel Prize for immunoglobulin, but obviously fantastic neuroscientist as well, has shown that the replay of neurons in the hippocampus and elsewhere in the brain is kind of an approximation of the previous episode, and a lot of fear unlearning, of uncoupling emotion from hard or traumatic events that happened previously, occurs in REM sleep. So you don't want to deprive yourself of REM sleep for too long. And those dreams tend to be very intense. Now, epinephrine is low so that you can't suddenly act out your dreams. But what's interesting is sometimes people will wake up suddenly while in a REM dream, and their heart will be beating really, really fast. That's a surge of epinephrine that occurs as you exit REM sleep.
Wow.
So you were having this intense emotional experience without the fear. You were essentially going through therapy in your sleep, self-induced therapy. It's like trauma therapy, where you try and divorce the emotion from the experience. And then you wake up. And some people also have the other component of REM.
okay.
So he just said it there, that the therapy, you're trying to divorce the emotion from the experience. So is that
yeah?
Well, I don't
memory.
I would say, is that really what we do in it's similar to what we do in hypnosis. It's similar, but it's how would you
you have a traumatic memory, we heal the trauma, so that next time you go through something similar, you don't feel that trauma again.
But what? So do you agree with? So what do you think of that description of you were separating the negative emotion from the memory? Do you think that's what we're doing, or do you think it's more?
I think so. I think it's just wholly insufficient for moderate to severe trauma. It's not enough of an effect.
So
trauma gets stuck if it's too much.
So what's the difference between what he just described and what we're doing? That's kind of what I'm getting at.
What we're doing is much more powerful. I mean, listen, if dreams cured our trauma, there'd be no need for what you and I do,
Yes, but I mean, like, he's talking about he's talking about therapies that I think he's going to bring up EMDR here in a moment, where they try and, or ketamine, which they try and separate the emotion from the traumatic event. And so what we're doing is sort of, I don't think we're using the emotion to find the program, but then we're using, like, I'm trying to decide if what we're doing is what he just described, of divorcing the emotion from the, like, is that really what we're doing at the underlying layer?
We don't just separate it. We send away the trauma. We get it out of you.
But is sending it away still separating the, like, because
yeah, it's separating and getting rid of it. But listen, when we have traumatic events, that trauma is still there. You know, so I am not sure what he exactly means by separating it out, but obviously, you know, there's an absolute mountain of evidence that trauma, especially childhood trauma, to some degree stays in us, and our brain is unable to naturally resolve this, at least completely.
Because we're not, like I think he just said there, we're not getting rid of the memory. We are recontextualizing.
We don't get rid of the memory in hypnosis. The memory's still there. There's just no more trauma.
The goal is to resolve that the issue.
Yeah.
You can keep.
So I'm not sure in what contents, to what extent it happens in just straight up in dreaming, but obviously it's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of blending together similar themes, so I'm trying to draw the line between what we're doing and the dreaming. But you can keep going too on the.
Yeah, Spark 55. Can lucid dreaming be used as self-hypnosis? If you know what you're doing, I believe so. But we already have self-hypnosis audios.
Matter of fact, it's funny they bring that up, because I've kind of done it in a dream, but
yeah, I believe you could, if you know what you're doing and you're lucid dreaming. Sorry, Jordan, go ahead.
I have actually done that in a dream. Like, if you're from, like, I've done the tornado of light within a dream, but I don't know if, again, this is where I start to get into, like, speculation, and like, I have no solid proof. This is just an isolated example of me doing it randomly when I'm lucid dreaming. So is it possible? Maybe.
I think so, but we're not experts on lucid dreamers. I just know it's kind of like, here's conscious state, here's hypnosis, here's deep sleep. And lucid dreaming is kind of like, okay, deep sleep dreams are maybe in this range, and then lucid dreaming is a little above, and then there's hypnosis right here. So you're talking about a difference between this and this. And you're like, okay, can I fix it when I'm here as opposed to here? And if you're lucid, meaning you're able to make conscious decisions in your dream, I believe so. Because you're just, lucid dreaming, it's kind of on the border of hypnosis. It's like extra deep hypnosis. There's actually different depths of hypnosis. You get your brain into alpha and then delta and theta, alpha, theta, delta. So there's different brain frequencies in hypnosis, and then it's at an even deeper frequency when you're actually asleep, lucid dreaming, etc. So my understanding is in all of these phases where your brain waves are lower, your brain is your subconscious is susceptible to suggestion to being reprogrammed. However, at what point do you lose the ability? Lucid dreaming, you're able to control your dreams. Same thing with hypnosis, you have control there. So I think if you're in this lower frequency state and you have control to actually go in and fix things, you could. But I don't take people into a lucid dream state, which is here. I take people here, so my experience is here. So I am, to a degree, speculating, although I do have a good idea overall.
You would have to practice getting into a lucid dreaming state consistent, which you can do, but I just don't know if it's necessary. But it's an interesting.
Well, it's not necessary. It's not necessary at all.
You don't have to.
We do core work at the level we're at. but if you want to play around with it, hey, go for it.
We could probably move to the Psych2Go clip too. I think that's
Okay.
everything.
Dissociation emotionally that Huberman refers to, perhaps. Okay, yeah. So very interesting stuff. That's awesome. Thank you, Masculine Mindset. So we're gonna go to this other clip here, which actually I think it's 7 common dream meanings, what you should never ignore. So it's actually gonna go into some of this. Our part of when we dream, it uses symbolic imagery. The images and things we encounter can actually be symbols for certain types of deep down subconscious beliefs and feelings, and they're being communicated to us through this symbolic imagery, this movie that plays in our mind while we're dreaming. So let's go to this guy here. This is pretty darn interesting. And this is a 7 common dreams we should not ignore, because they do mean something. Not every dream means something, by the way, but especially if it's a recurring dream, they do.
At first glance, dreams might be just fictional scenarios our minds make up when we're sleeping. But what if there's more to them than just stories we tell others or write about after? Although there's no scientific evidence to prove that dreams hold special meaning, for many years they have been studied to promote better self-awareness and to help us understand what's bothering us in our everyday lives. According to Suzanne Bergman, a social worker and dream specialist, dreams are a universal language, creating often elaborate images out of emotional concepts. Have you been recognizing certain themes you frequently dream about? Here are 7 common dream meanings. 1. Being lost or trapped. This is a common dream many people have. Being lost or trapped usually means you're unsure about what step to take next from a particular circumstance in real life. People who dream about getting lost in the woods, a large building, or any maze-like structure in general often feel overwhelmed and can't seem to find a way out. This reflects the mental, physical, financial, or emotional burdens they're experiencing in real life. 2. Missed opportunities. Do you ever dream about missing public transportation, such as a bus, train, plane, or taxi? Often, people who dream about such scenarios tend to miss them only by a fraction of a second. This can also pertain to scenarios where you dream about being late for a job interview, performance, or special event. In real life, these dreams may reflect the regrets you have for not going after what you wanted, whether that means missing out on seeing your favorite band perform live or not applying for your dream job on time. 3. Car troubles. People who dream about these scenarios usually find themselves near.
I've had this one before. Go ahead.
No, like the first two of being lost. The first one was being lost or trapped. So I like to relate everything back to dive to the 5. So lost or trapped, I would say that's number 5. I don't feel safe, or potentially I can't get what I want. So again, the point of this,
that's some of the words I use in my descriptive word list is lost.
Right. Yeah. Right. And the point of this is not to say, oh, absolute. I think she said it at the beginning of the video. It's not saying that every dream is exactly reflects what's in your subconscious. It could just be random noise, and we're trying to interpret it.
It could be your brain just processing what happened that day, and there's no real meaning. It's just, well, this happened, and I'm processing it.
Right. But if it's recurring for many years, the same thing over and over again, probably worth looking at.
Especially if you wake up from a dream and you have an emotion, a negative emotion. Yeah, that's worth looking at.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I've had, especially, I don't know if they go into, I've had dreams where I have resentment towards a particular individual or person, and I wake up angry at that person. And so, again, we talk about number 4, anger, resentment. Well, if you keep having that dream where you're angry and bitter and resentful at that one individual, or maybe more than one person, probably some subconscious.
That means it's unresolved.
Yeah, we can resolve. So,
by the way, I was not able to do my show yesterday with Teresa Kuhn, but this upcoming Friday, the show with Teresa is on forgiveness is for the forgiver, and we're going to talk about trapped anger and why you need to let it go. So, just to tie that in, that'll be this Friday.
And the second, I was going to do both. So the second one was like you're running late for something. Again, it could be multiple things. Could be I can't get what I want. I'm always late, or it's like I think this might tie into where I was coming from. Whereas what I want is ever elusive. It's like it's like what I want is it's almost like a dangling carrot, except no one's pulling the strings. Like the harder you try, the further it gets away. So
Yeah.
these are all
It sucks.
right. And so these are all signs that there might be a subconscious program inside of you that needs clearing. So use these tools.
Yeah. So, and by the way, there's a lot of interaction today. We love this interaction. Just remember, guys, school.com/MindChrysalis-7138, as you see in the bottom left of my screen. That is, go there, join MindChrysalis. And we actually have a free webinar this Monday, and then basically Monday night, twice a month, or every 2 weeks.
Yep.
And you can interact with us on Zoom, ask us questions on Zoom. We're going to have a Q&A. We're actually talking about overcoming approach anxiety and social anxiety in general to a lesser extent. It's hard for guys to approach women. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to show you how you can resolve that with our free self-hypnosis. You can ask us other questions. So we appreciate your interaction. If you want to interact with us even more closely, be sure to sign up. School.com, my new community. It's no charge, and you get access to the actual self-hypnosis course, discount on the paid stuff, and this Monday night interactive Zoom webinar with us. So let's just go down the list. What does it mean when you have a dream, when you miss something?
Do you mean someone, or
yeah? Give us an example of that, Spark 55, and we'll come back to that. Dream about being in public without clothes. Yeah, I had that as a kid, and that's insecurity.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the ones I haven't had. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, I had that as a kid. It's a sign of insecurity. So that can totally be fixed. I mean, we fix insecurities all day, every day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Different way to interpret a nightmare.
Insecure, and meaning, I'll elaborate more on that. We talk about dive to 5. That would be number 2 of I'm not good enough for other people. Other people don't like me. Other people judge me. I'm not worthy of other people. So that would fall into the number 2 category.
You don't ever dream of your family. I rarely dream of my family, every now and then. But okay.
I don't. I dream missing. Well, she just talked about that on the
apology there. Yeah.
So if it's a dream versus recurring dreams, if you have recurring dreams of that, perhaps that's, I can't speak for what you might be feeling inside, but ask yourself maybe why.
Yeah. Definitely check out the course, join the community. And when you get in the community, introduce yourself, try the course, invite your family, invite your friends, because listen, we're giving you guys stuff you can actually up level with. We're not just giving you some teaser here where it educates you, but you can't use it. We're giving you stuff you guys can use and change your lives, and it's no charge. The free portion is actually quite powerful. So I'm glad you're going to check it out. I encourage everyone to upgrade your life. What do you have to lose? Constantly dream of horror situations. Well, there's definitely something there, Gabriel.
Well, if it's the same horror situation over and over again, are they different horror situations? Are they with the same people, different people? Are you alone? Or notice patterns, right? If it's completely random, maybe that's the pattern. Figure out, is it. Notice the patterns in your dreams in these horror situations, and then say, okay, well, what is that? What can that tell me?
Yeah. Do you feel unsafe? Do you feel everything's going to fall apart? There's some sort of threat. What could that threat be? Ponder it, write it out. It was a dream of missing the bus with a loved one on it. So, and have you had that as a recurring dream, Spark? But to me, that seems, pretty straightforward.
Could be multiple. It could be fear of abandonment. It could be I'm not good enough. It could be I'm not good enough for other people. I can't get what I want. I can't connect with other people.
Yeah, it could be that specific loved one or just people you love or value in general in that.
Yeah.
Really important to use your intuition. You guys can write this out and say, well, what do I think it means? Yeah. But don't think logically, just let something come to you intuitively. What do you
Yeah.
feel it means? Not what you logically deduce it means. What do you feel it means? Because our intuition is our subconscious. Our logical mind is our prefrontal cortex, and that is actually not. That's more conscious, cognitive thought than subconscious. So yeah.
You want to keep going? I think there's 5 more we can cover.
You are very welcome, Gabriel. Keep coming
Thank
back.
you,
Join
Gabriel.
the community. Contribute. We're gonna up-level everyone together. We can change the world. Let's do it together. Not just me and Jordan. Everyone. Let's all contribute.
Absolutely.
Up-level yourselves. Up-level others. That's why we have this community. So we can help you. You can help each other, and we get benefit in return too. That's why we do this. So, yeah. Moving on.
A car vehicle. They can either be the driver or the passenger when they experience a brake failure, flat tire, or getting hit by another car. In real life, this typically means that you feel like you don't have control over a certain situation, or you might be headed for trouble in the future. 4. Failing a test. Contrary to what it sounds like, people who dream of this scenario are usually no longer in school. Common dream scenarios involve having trouble finding the test room, being unprepared from lack of studying, or missing equipment to complete it. They indicate that you are feeling tested in real life, which makes you anxious about what your future holds. 5.
All right, we can talk
chased.
about those
This
two
is a
real
common
quick.
dream people with anxiety.
I've had both of those. I've had driving and I hit the brakes and nothing happens. I've had, it's funny, as I usually have in the failing a test, it's more like I am back in school and I'm not ready for something. I don't know if I failed it necessarily, but I'm not ready or I'm unprepared, or it's like I haven't completed some sort of requirement that I'm like, oh shoot. And so for me, the brakes not working. For me, it was a lack of feeling like I had control over my own life.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've had that.
Yeah.
The car won't stop, brakes won't work.
I wonder why it's always a car.
I had that dream when I was overstressed, had my busiest year ever, and then hypnosis as well, and then the back injury. I had that dream.
Yeah.
Now, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was good.
What I'll tell you guys is, if you fix your core with hypnosis, it doesn't mean like you'll never ever be sad, never ever be anxious, anything like that. But it's way better, and you just have more power to kick ass. You've kind of become a master of your emotions to a degree, as opposed to living unconsciously and your emotions master you. For your subconscious masters you.
Yeah.
I have maybe 5% of these negative dreams compared to what I used to have. Maybe once a year something will come up where I have a negative dream, or dream the car won't stop, or just whatever. Maybe once a year. It used to be way more frequent before I fixed my core, because I do feel deep down I have more power. I can figure stuff out. I am good enough, etc., etc. And so I typically I don't have any repeating dreams, and it's actually just way more rare to have these dreams you wake up and oh, I'm out of control or something. It's just way more rare now. So yeah, I'm curious, Gabriel. You've been lacking your childhood impressions versus when you became free. I'm curious, what does it mean you became free?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
All right, so we'll keep going. Anything to add before we continue, Jordan?
Tying it back to dive to the 5. So first one could be I don't feel like the car not braking. Could be I don't feel safe. Could be I can't get what I want. Like I don't have control. So it could be, or a combination of both. The other one was failing a test. Could be I'm not good enough. Other people don't think I'm good enough.
I'm not prepared. I don't have what I need to do this.
Yeah. I can't get what I want. I can't pass this thing. So, these categories we have, these 5 tend to bleed together a little bit. Usually, sometimes you have anger, resentment towards someone because they made you feel not good enough. They tend to be related. So, and that's what, again, it's just noticing these questions, and, asking yourself, what does this mean?
Yeah, ponder it and write it out intuitively. You wake up from a dream, say, okay, what's this dream mean? You know, honestly, when I have, again, it's way, way more rare than it used to be. But if I have a negative dream, I wake up, I see it pretty easily. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going through this and it makes me feel this way. Okay. You know, but it gives us clues as to things in us we may want to fix, insecurities, you know, etc. If the 5 types of trauma are, we have 5 different types of subconscious trauma. Number 1, I'm not good enough. Number 2, I don't belong or fit in with others, socially unaccepted in some way, or can't connect with others. Number 3, powerlessness. You cannot get what you want. Maybe you can get it, but you can't keep it. Maybe you're not allowed to get it, whatever. You can't get what you want. Number 4, trapped anger, resentment, rage. Number 5, feeling unsafe. All these negative dreams are going to tie into one of the 5. So write it out after you wake up. How's it tie in? What does this mean? Because that's going to give you a clue. When you write it out and figure out what's in your subconscious, we can go in hypnosis or self-hypnosis, get it out permanently. It's gone. You just get it out of you and it's gone. And now you're doing better. You're performing better because you have more self-belief, a feeling of power, etc. A feeling, hey, if I fail, it's no big deal. I'll win in the long run. I'll figure it out in the long run. I get better each time I fail. So I'm going to keep going, as opposed to someone who doesn't even try. If you feel deep down, hey, if I try this, I won't succeed, you probably won't even try because it's a waste of time. If you believe you're not going to succeed, it's just a waste of time. So you never do it and you don't up level. But if you believe you can succeed and that it's worth it, then you're going to do it. And if you also believe, hey, I might fail a few times or many times, but the more I do it, the better I get, and I will succeed in the long run, you do it, and then you have big success other people don't have because you have this self-belief. So any insecurities that are being exposed in your dreams, it's a clue as to what you can fix that is actually, again, 95% of our behavior is subconscious. 95% of the decisions we make based on the beliefs and feelings deep down in us, you know, and the feelings, of course, for most of us get triggered and we feel, some people don't feel their feelings, but their subconscious is aware of the feelings. So they're still going to have the behavior based on these negative feelings, even if they don't feel them. Healthy Gamer GG, his channel, he's a psychiatrist. He talks about that. So getting this awareness and then fixing stuff that holds you back leads to power. It leads to power. It's not a coincidence. Within 2 years of me doing self-hypnosis, cleaning out my inner world, my income doubled. It's not a coincidence. It's just what happens. I've had so many people come to me and they're like, oh man, I'm kicking more ass. I'm making more money, or I got fit, or just, you know, whatever. So this is awesome stuff. So, and this is a clue as to what we can get out of us so that we can up level and move forward.
They often have. They usually dream about being chased by an animal, person, or something you cannot readily identify. In real life, it means that they are trying to run away from a certain situation, or it could be an emotion they are not ready to confront yet, whether it's grief or a breakup. 6. Tooth decay. Have you ever dreamed about reaching into your mouth only to feel your teeth fall out, or that there is a missing gap? This indicates that you may feel insecure in real life, unattractive, or not good enough, whether it pertains to school, your work life, or romantic relationship. You may also have a fear of being embarrassed or judged by others. 7. Falling or sinking. People who dream of this scenario often find themselves falling from a high building or sinking into an ocean. They usually feel helpless and overwhelmed. It's a common misconception to believe that having those dreams mean a foreshadow to your own death. But in reality, they indicate your fear of falling or that you're not content with where you are in life. You may need to carve a new path or make some new choices to help you find meaning again.
So we can talk about those.
That's one I used to have a few times a year that I just never have. I haven't had it in a decade at least.
But which one?
The falling. I would wake up because I have this falling sensation, and it would make me wake up, and I'm like, you know,
what do you think?
I haven't had it since I fixed my core.
And what do you believe might have been the cause of that? Like, how does that fit in a dive?
I felt powerless.
Powerless.
Yeah, I felt powerless. I felt not good enough. Yeah. You know, I cleared all that stuff. That's one of a few different of these dreams that I just didn't have anymore.
Gotcha. So we
Yeah.
can talk about the other two as well. So I have never had the tooth. That one surprised me when I first watched this video. I said tooth decay. So if anyone's listening,
Yeah, I've never had that one either.
tell us in the chat. Have any of you had the tooth decay one? Like the one about being naked on stage like that, or like in front of other people. That I get. Maybe that's in the same vein of like criticism from other people. But the tooth decay one is interesting. I hadn't heard about. But I mean, obviously, clearly enough people have had it that she put it in the video, but I guess that fits into the social anxiety. I'm not good enough for other people judge me. And then the other one was being chased. I wanted to try and cover, all seven. So the chased one could be fit in a number of things. I don't feel safe. I'm not, she said it was running away from grief potentially of, I don't feel, I guess, good enough for other people. I let someone down, like something like that could be it. So becoming detached. Sorry, I was going to read his.
Yeah. So Gabriel, when I asked him, what do you mean by become free?
Oh, okay.
And now he's saying, well, free from family attachments. And hey, if you have an abusive background, I'm not saying you do, but it kind of sounds like possibly. Detaching from abusive family relationships is totally understandable and may be necessary. It just kind of depends. You got to use some judgment, but if people are hurting you, if they're dysfunctional, that holds you back. You got to take care of yourself. If you don't, no one else will. This happens to me, skinny to swole. Well, it's happened in the past. I don't play I play like 1/10 of the video games I used to play. But I'll dream with video games. Yeah, because your brain's processing what's been happening that day. So that can absolutely leak in if you played video games 8 hours.
I may or may not have had that experience last night.
What were you playing?
I was playing Mario Kart.
Nice. Gabriel, so MLD gives a lot of good advice, but don't just limit yourself to one person giving advice. No one has all the answers, Like we're dropping what I believe is just, real gems of value, but we don't have all the answers either. Maybe you want to learn how to invest in real estate. Well, guess what? I'm not a real estate investor. Go to an expert in real estate for that. Or I'm not a dating coach. I teach inner game. I think my game's decent. It's pretty good. I get what I want when it comes to dating for sure, but I'm not going to give you like killer, techniques for dating women. Somewhat I got is pretty solid, but I'm not a dating coach. So go to someone who's an expert in that for that, or certain other life skills. No one has all the answers, but MLD, a lot of his advice is very helpful. 100%. Floss too much for number 6. Yeah. Good to know, man. Want to be clear, join my community for sure and get started there. school.com/MindChrysalis-7138. You can that's where you can start. There is stuff there that will get you on the path and actually start clearing out trauma for you. Yeah, so detaching from your family if they're abusive is, you got to do what you got to do.
It's also like, I think you've helped me in the past, Ryan, where I was struggling to see, like, I'll make a conjecture here that dreams, like, the first thing you helped me with was I was feeling guilty for having emotions to begin with. So I was blocking myself from, and I've helped clients with this too, is that this feeling of I'm not even allowed to look at the programs that are inside of me. But when you're dreaming, I think it's harder for your, like that block really isn't, it's harder for that block to be there. So if you're dreaming about people in your life who are causing you issues and stuff, but then you wake up and say, oh, no, that's not the case. They're good. This, and that, I think the dream could be a gateway to how you actually feel about these people versus you feeling guilty for not liking these certain individuals in your life. I'm speaking kind of generally, but
yeah.
So dreams can remove that inhibition and actually show you, oh, I really am frustrated. Maybe these people are abusive in my life. Maybe these people really do make me feel scared and upset. Maybe there's not a coincidence that I keep dreaming about this person beating me up over and over again. But
Yeah,
in reality,
there's no
I'm like,
detachment in dreams.
right.
It's going to show you what's really down there, which
Right.
is very helpful. 100%.
So I think you can play the rest of the video. I don't know if there's.
Yeah, I got to go in about 5 minutes, so
Sure.
we'll play this out.
Okay.
Which of these themes do you commonly dream about? If you have a special topic request you'd like
I think they're all done,
yeah.
but we'll play the last minute.
I
us
think
to
they're-
explore next, make sure to let us know in the comments section below. Also, please be sure to subscribe to our channel for more helpful tips.
All right.
Yeah, they're done. Yeah.
All right, cool. So
Anyway, yeah, I like that summary that they provide. It's pretty cool to see those summed up. So I guess the moral of the story for the show is notice these patterns. Always be aware of what's in your mind. Notice these patterns. Is there a term for that? Like know thyself? Is that what
mindfulness.
Mindfulness? Sure.
Mindfulness. So Gabriel, my story. One of my videos, I give my story, or go to innermasculine.com, click my story. You'll see, man, I've had struggles, so has Jordan. We overcame them, so can you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, Jordan.
No, that's all I want to say. It was just be mindful, be aware, and I think the moral is not all dreams are useful, but I think that they can be if you use them correctly.
Yeah, get an insight into your inner world, and then use our techniques, and you can up level and clear it out, and then everything changes for the better. So that's our show. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate your active participation. We help you however we can. Anything else, Jordan, before we go, or is that it for you?
No, it's cool to see people commenting, and the engagement helps us grow. So keep doing that, and we appreciate that very much.
Yeah, we appreciate you too, Gabriel. Keep coming back. Spark55, thank you for the compliments. Upgrade your internal world, or changes everything. Our brain is the most complicated object in the universe. It's massively more powerful than people realize. But we have this supercomputer. Our subconscious mind is a supercomputer. It processes 1,000 times more per second than our conscious mind. This is neuroscience. It's a fact. It's been measured. The reason more people are not kicking ass in life is everyone has this supercomputer, incredibly capable supercomputer. But like any supercomputer, it will run the programs that are in it that it's told to run. Most people have maladaptive viruses, bad subconscious programs. You get those out, you put the good ones in. Now you get this supercomputer working for you, and you realize something very important. What you realize is, wow, you have more power than you know.